Good morning, my little green birds. Welcome back to my channel. And today we have Velas and Terminal back again. Say hi.
How's it going, everybody?
Today's subject is actually more on the serious side. This is something that actually involves both the beauty industry and the bearded community, or the bearded industry, however in the world you want to call it and perceive it. If you guys are interested in what we have to say as POC ourselves, then stay tuned to this video. Welcome back, Velas and Terminal, also known as Santino. Thank you so much once again for being my guest. And I don't know how to start off this subject right now because we all are experiencing a very interesting time right now. First, we started off with the pandemic. Now we are experiencing the biggest rights movement I have ever seen in a very, very long time. I have never seen countries actually unite. And at this point, people such as ourselves, we are involved in the beauty industry. Regardless of how you guys want to perceive the bearded community, it is actually considered the beauty industry because it falls under that big umbrella. You may disagree with me, and maybe Santino disagrees with me, but we all have our own opinions on how we want to perceive the industries that we are involved in terms of our niches. Now, Santino, what is your perspective on what's going on right now, to be honest, before we start really dissecting everything?
You know, we're living in a very important time, and that's kind of how I will, boil it down. And that's terribly oversimplifying it. But,
Yeah.
The actuality is we're seeing a society that is, finally, expressing their outrage in a very focused way. And I think it's a really great thing. And, it's to the point where you see people holding companies' feet to the fire. And, it's not enough to just kind of straddle the fence anymore and remain neutral. And that was always kind of this cop out that a lot of companies used before is, oh,
Exactly.
we don't want to get involved and whatever,
Yes.
this and that.
Yes.
And, now it's like, no, you have to get involved, and you have to let people know where you stand with this, because it's something bigger than business. It's about right and wrong at this point, and that's kind of where we're at as a society. And I mean, these are big changes that people are pushing for. And, to be able to get, big brands, not just, the small indie companies to say where they stand, but,
Exactly.
the biggest of the big Fortune 500 companies, whatever, they have to come out now and let people know where they stand. And I think that speaks to the power of consumerism. And I think that speaks to the power of, all of us who, devote ourselves to whatever industries at large. If we speak up, if we use our voices, this is how we get action from, these multinational corporations, which, I think is a really great thing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so recently, I am absorbing everything that you are telling me and what you've said. Now, recently I uploaded a video. I called it "Dear Beauty Industry and Bearded Community," and I called that video with that title for a reason. And then right next to the title, it said "Put Up or Shut Up." Now, I know that you have watched the video, and I just wanted to know your reaction, your thoughts on that subject in particular.
And Yeah, I think it's super important, the whole concept of pull up. And and the name escapes me now. I know you had actually mentioned the woman who kind of spearheaded the movement in your
Yes.
video.
Yeah,
And
she has a really big platform. So Jackie, her name is Jackie Aina, everyone. If you guys are not familiar with her, she's a beauty, she's a POC beauty influencer, and she has a bigger platform than the people that started the Pull Up for Change. Okay, that's what the organization is called, and their IG and FB. Um, but they also hashtagged the phrase "pull it up or shut up." Pull up or shut up. And I think it was just really groundbreaking when I saw that, to be quite honest. As I was like, wow, this is something that I have never seen before. And I think we are at a very specific time where it is necessary for these big companies, as you said, to really demonstrate where they stand in terms of equal opportunity for POC, more so Black community, because they are always at the bottom of the barrel. So I'm gonna let you continue with what your perception of it is.
no, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's huge that you have big influencers like that who are willing to kind of be the face of a movement like this. uh, think about it this way: we wake up in the morning. I'm assuming I'm like most people. One of the first things you do is you put the coffee on. Uh, I know the places I order or have my coffee shipped in from, fair trade, organic, this and that, whatever. All of that, is a result of people demanding better from an industry. And that's, just kind of a small microcosm of what I'm talking about right now. But, 20, 30 years ago, nobody even thought about these things with their coffee. You talk about, your beard care products, your skin care products, all of that. And look how important cruelty free and, ethically sourced ingredients, all of those things, which again, these are concepts that have become normalized. Whereas, years and years ago, this was not something that even registered with a lot of people.
Exactly.
So, the same thing has to be said for POC owned businesses, especially Black owned businesses. And I know I was kind of going through my own collection of beard care products, and I realized that my collection personally was somewhat lacking in that respect. So I
Mm.
definitely have decided for the rest of the month any products that I purchase, and honestly, probably longer than the rest of the month, just until I'm
Yeah.
satisfied with the ratio in my collection here. I'm going to make it an effort to go out of my way to purchase exclusively from POC owned businesses and Black owned businesses in
Hmm.
particular, just because it is important to have that representation within whatever it is that you're doing. For me, it's beard care, but no matter what it is, look at the products you're buying. And it's a simple question: just ask who's benefiting from this. that's you know
Hmm.
that's that's the way I see it anyway.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I know from the moment I started my channel myself, I've been doing YouTube now for almost a year and a half, and I have literally have tried making it known that there is POC skincare and beard care, but it is also very hard to find. I will let you guys know it is very hard to find. I have found Instagram pages and websites that list and link all POC founded brands and companies. For instance, Nature Boy is one of the best beard care products I have ever purchased. No matter what, that is something that I literally will go to all the time. And I do know for a fact, of course, that a lot of my skincare is more probably founded by a non POC person. And I think it's really necessary as myself, as a biracial person. I identify as half Black and half Chinese. And I want to represent for my Black community, okay, there is reasons why I do not support a huge portion of Asian skincare because I'm not going to say all brands, okay, but there is a huge thing in this white complex, no offense to anyone, that bleaching your skin is better to fit in the norm and society. And I personally think that is just disgustingly wrong because that's just not where people should be. People should really appreciate who they are because I think if you are sitting here as a POC person, even as a Caucasian person bleaching your skin, that just shows how the beauty industry and the male skincare industry, the bearded community, is literally thinking right now. And I think that it is something that needs to be dismantled, to be really quite honest with you. Of course, I use a brightening serum, but there's a difference between brightening serums and then bleaching complexes and bleaching skincare. Okay, I'm just gonna say this brightening. Now, when I use a product, like for instance, by cosmetics, that's a professional skincare product, brightening means evening out pigmentation and hyperpigmentation and evening out the skin tone. That is a major difference. Whereas bleaching, that is a whole different process. It is very unnatural, all the above. And that is literally just so wrong. And I will say this right now, if you actually look at any products that are about bleaching the skin, they're always aimed towards minorities and they're always aimed in more poverty level locations. I'm not even joking when I say that. I watched a documentary about that a long time ago, and I just was not surprised whatsoever. But yeah, I am all about for the equality of everyone, but right now, I feel that it is really about supporting your brothers and sisters in these special niches that you guys love so much, okay? And it does not hurt to literally support a Black owned company or a POC company. It just doesn't. And I am that type of person where I don't care if I lose followers, subscribers, whatever underneath of the sun, because it just shows where your mind is at right now at this time. And just in general, I am like, if you're not about my message, then I am obviously not the channel for you.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important that anyone with any sort of platform, again, let it be known where they stand at this point, because we cannot remain neutral.
Yes.
It's about, you're experiencing what feels like kind of a new branch of a civil rights movement here,
Yes.
and you might not realize it now, but 20, 30 years down the road, when people ask you, this is going to be in history books. This is going to be talked about for generations. And when people ask you, what were you doing at this time? You want to make sure that you were able to tell them that you did the right thing, that you stood up for what was right. And that is, that's kind of the most important thing right now. So, even if it's something as simple as just speaking with your wallet and supporting POC-owned businesses, that's
Mm-hmm.
still so much more important than just remaining neutral, because you're worried about making this whatever segment of your followers
Yeah.
angry or whatever. And at the end of the day, think about it this way: is a few followers misconstruing your message and taking off, is that worth your integrity, your ability to further on down the road say, hey, I stood up for what I believed and I stood up for what was right?
Yes, I totally agree with you. And a prime example from a white-owned business is Ruzel. Ruzel is based in Norway. It's in one of those countries. I don't remember where they're from exactly. And I know for a fact because the owner, if you go to his Instagram, he was really unapologetic for his actions by supporting pretty much Black rights and everything. He said, you know what, I don't give a flying flip that I just lost a bunch of followers or customers, whatever it is, because he was using his story, um, which is like, I'm just going to say his story. If you're interested in knowing more about him, I suggest looking it up. I'm just going off of what he has said about his background, just in general, as someone who's different. And I'm just happy that someone who has like thousands of followers, okay, as a business owner, is using his platform for what is right. And I think that is really important. So when it comes down to the pull up or shut up hashtag, basically, um, what they're asking people to do is pull up their numbers. I'm not asking any of the people right now that are small businesses in terms of like beard care, beards shaving products and all that other stuff. I'm not asking that, but if you happen to be more than about 20 people or more, I highly suggest that you follow possibly the Pull Up for Change challenge. Just look at your own demographic and everything. And if you want to share it with that Instagram account, you're more than welcome to. But this does not mean that I am going to unfollow any of the brands that I actually like. Most of the brands that I really like, they're pretty small, especially in the bearded community, that I've noticed. But if you are someone who's really starting to start mass producing, and I just believe like you should have some equal rights and opportunity for others. Um, this pull up for change, basically, like this is go like I said, this is aiming towards people who are bigger. Okay, like even if you're a small business and if you decide to donate to a Black charity, make sure that it's actually a Black owned charity, not a white owned charity. That is a huge thing that people are totally forgetting. Do not donate to white charities because they are the ones who are benefiting. And if you are going to donate at least once, okay, that is awesome. But what a lot of the people in the communities in general are asking right now is that if you are going to say something, you better stand by your word because there is such thing as cancel culture. Okay, I mean, like I hate to say it. I don't know if anyone in the bearded community has even heard of cancel culture, but that is a very mainstream term, and no one wants to be canceled. Okay,
No.
like oh my god, it like I'm not even joking. If you have never heard of cancel culture or canceled, okay, like better look it up because cancel culture is real. Okay, and as odd as it sounds, it's kind of like I am for someone being canceled for doing something that is completely just inappropriate, like trying to fit in and all that is just not necessary. Like for example, which I don't care, the skin store. If you guys saw my last video, I talked about the skin store and I even talked about them on my Instagram. Basically, what they decided to do was they put up their own statement about their silence. Okay, really unattractive. And if you guys do not know what the Skin Store is, the Skin Store is a company that sells men's grooming products, professional skincare, medical grade skincare, and pedestrian, regular, everyday skincare. Now, the fact that what they decided to do was they said pretty much just this. I'm not going to pull up everything. Um, they said, we heard what you were saying, and I think it's now time for us to hire POC. I was just like, what the flying was that? That was just so insensitive and just so inappropriate. And if you go to the Skin Store's website and their Instagram, you're gonna see a lot of hate, and there's like hella people canceling them. And that's what I mean by cancel culture. So, like I said, if you guys do not know what cancel culture is, I highly recommend you look it up because that is real and everything. I'm just saying, just saying.
No, absolutely, and I think that's one of the major differences too, especially when you're talking about holding these companies accountable.
Exactly.
There's a big difference between making an effort, doing better, and then just outright pandering. And
Yes.
that's at the end of the day, you're not doing it because it's the right thing to do. You're doing it because you are worried about your bottom line, and companies like that, they deserve to be canceled. I'm sorry, but they
Yeah,
do.
they really do. And one of the other things is if you are a bigger corporation, if you are going to donate and be consistent at least. At least donate. If you're going to donate once a big amount of money and then just not be bothered a year or two down the road, people are literally keeping track. I'm not even joking. People do keep track. So if you are going to support a business, I do at this time, at this point in time where we are right now, I do recommend that you do make sure that they are doing the right thing and being inclusive. Another prime example was today. Okay, I was approached by a company. I'm not going to say the brand name at all because they didn't do anything to me. They are kind of starting off. They have at least 3,000 followers, whatever, on Instagram. They asked me if I would like to do a collaboration with them. And I looked at their Instagram and I was like, oh, okay, so I only see one Black person. I didn't see Asian. I didn't see any of that whatsoever. And I asked, I literally asked, okay? I asked, are you guys going to have any POC in your feed? Are you going to feature more? And might I add, I'm not going to say where the company is based, okay? And they just kept on deflecting with my question. Literally, they kept on deflecting, and they said, "You know what? We can offer you an X amount of product to feature on your IG, your YouTube, whatever." And I was just like, "You're still avoiding the question. I am interested, but will you please answer this question?" Then I got the short answer because I noticed everything I felt like was like copy and paste. The short answer is yes, we will. And then they said, now are you still interested? A, B, and C. And I was like, okay. Obviously, they are not listening to what I'm saying. And that is not okay. Okay. Because if I'm going to represent a brand, you better be fucking inclusive. Okay. I'm not standing for that. If you guys don't know what the word stand means, that means STAN. That means promoting and standing with. Like, that's what standing means. And I just said, I appreciate you reaching out. Thank you so much, and good luck to you. That's all I said. Not bothered. Okay. And you know what? Hashtag not bothered. If you guys have never heard of that tag phrase, that means don't care, move on, you're canceled. That's what pretty much that means in the more mainstream light, if you guys do not know what not bothered means. So, yeah. God, everything is just like, that was today, literally, Santino. That was literally today before I.
Yeah.
I just
No,
wanted,
and
like, I was just like ready to, like, oh my God, like, are you guys literally deaf right now? It's driving me
but
crazy.
no, but that's the thing right there is just kind of the time we're living in right now. There's certain things where there's questions that need to be asked that maybe you weren't asking before, not for anything, not, oh, I want to avoid the subject or whatever. These are just things that it's like, okay, you look at somebody's IG and they don't necessarily have a lot of POC representation. It's like, okay, well, maybe I can help change that or whatever. But it's like,
Yeah,
no, obviously it's that way for a reason, and it's not my responsibility. It's not any, and I say this as a fairly white passing POC but it's not any POC's responsibility to make, you know, a company or whatever get it. It's
Yeah.
like you need to get it because you want to get it, that sort of
Yes,
thing, you know?
exactly. It's
Yeah,
called having a moral value,
absolutely.
because that's what it's really
Absolutely.
called.
Yeah.
I know that because I know it's really interesting. Um, I actually have been showing a lot of interest in Latin founded skincare and beard care, but I've noticed that it is also like I think it's almost near obsolete. I unless you can think of anything that comes off the top of your head, I would love to check those products out. Um, if that is even something that you can't even think of, because like I literally have tried looking. Um, it's really weird because like, you know, I will tell you this right now. I aside from US viewers and followers, it's really interesting. My second largest demographic that watches my channel, which I thought was interesting, was Brazilians.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And um this was months and months ago, last year. I was wanting to do a dedicated video on Brazilian skincare, which I thought would have been easy to find because, you know, everyone's all about Brazilian tan, Brazilian
Oh,
this and
yeah.
that and whatever. And I actually, it, it was almost near impossible to find. Um, I've noticed like it was just literally just almost obsolete. And I tried looking into um, Brazilian men's grooming products, and I just could not find any. And if any of my Brazilian followers are out there, I would love to see you guys recommend some products to me in a comment down below underneath the description box, or even just DM me on my Instagram or just message me overall. I will try responding to you guys. Um, like I said, like I try really supporting a lot of the demographic that follows me and that I fall under as a biracial person. So yeah,
Yeah, and you know, I'm trying to think right now. There's a couple Latin-owned brands that pop up in my head, but not many. And to
yeah,
be honest with you, most of them I don't even know if they're really Latin-owned anymore. They may have been
yeah,
Latin founded, but most of them have
yes,
gotten kind of bigger and corporate, and I don't know if they haven't maybe been bought out by someone else. That's a subject that I may have to do a little bit of homework on. But it is definitely, you know, something else to think about. I mean, once again, representation, it's so important. So
exactly.
yeah.
Um, I know, I know that it's just awkward because like we never think about it until right now. When you're literally speaking about it, we're just kind of like just struck like, wow, really? Like I never really thought of it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna keep this portion in this video, but like it's just so it's just so mind-boggling. I mean, like, yeah, I can easily support an Asian brand. Okay, it's not that hard to get a hold of them, but I'm just gonna be really honest with you. I do not believe for a single fucking moment that any of those K-pop stars that stood for POC, Black Lives Matter, I honestly really just don't think they give a fuck, to be honest, because they are known for extreme attention. They're always attention whores. Yes, that there is a huge following amongst POC people following them, but it's still predominantly Asian. And a huge portion of those K-pop stars, have you looked at them? They look so ghastly. They look like they're dying.
Well,
Too
you
much,
know,
like
yeah,
too much
that's
bleaching.
that's the messed up part. And you know, it's funny because, you know, I can't necessarily speak from like an Asian community standpoint. I actually, when I had my
Yeah.
DNA done a while ago, I was like shocked. I'm actually like 20% Chinese. I'm like, okay, cool. But I
Well,
know definitely.
well, Latin descent is Asian, and I think
Yeah.
people who it makes me want to punch people when they say, "Oh, I'm not Asian," and I'm like, "Oh my God, were you not educated? Like, do you know where Native American came from? You
Yeah.
stupid whore! Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Like, I'm just like, you need to throw yourself in front of a train. Like, I just don't understand people." Like,
Well, no, and
I just don't. Oh my God.
oh no, and and for me with having a very heavy Caribbean background,
Uh huh.
people don't realize the effects that colonization had on the Caribbean. It's like
Yeah.
you're not gonna be 100% anything. You're gonna have some black. You're gonna have some Asian. What? Because I mean,
Yeah.
these are all minority groups that were exploited by the British, the Spanish, whoever, and brought over as cheap labor just to keep it
Yeah.
as
PC.
unoffensive as possible.
I know.
But
Right.
yeah, and so that definitely kind of affects things. But just to kind of circle back around,
Yeah.
for me, just kind of speaking from the Cuban perspective, the Latin perspective, whatever. And my wife is Cuban too, and we talk about this a lot. One
Yeah.
of the things that is not really confronted within our own little bubble, our own demographic, is there is a terrible amount of colorism. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's probably, the same when you discuss like the K-pop stars bleaching their skin and whatever, this and that. And it's like, in a way, these people have been kind of victimized by an ideology, but at the same time, it's like
Yeah.
somebody in a position has to step up and say, no, we're not doing this anymore. This is bullshit. And
Exactly.
I think that's where you really kind of start to break that cycle of colorism.
Yes. It was really interesting because like even though we are talking about the demographic of the beauty and bearded community, you guys, colorism is a major problem in all demographics, just in general. It doesn't matter if you're Caucasian, if you're white, or any of that. It's a huge issue. And that is something that needs to literally be just broken and dismantled, disbanded. Like that is just something that just shouldn't even be in existence. But unfortunately, the Eurocentric ideology is just very strong still. Like, let's be real. I do hope that everyone who has stood up in all of the big major cities around the US and around the world, that they actually stand with their message. I really do hope so, because like I have said in my previous video, I experienced more racism in San Francisco than any other place I have ever lived. Okay. Now, my biggest question to the SFers, the Franciscans, okay, are you guys going to actually stand with the belief that I saw demonstrated last week on Wednesday and throughout the rest of this past week, which we obviously know is going to recede into this week? Obviously, today is what? It is June 7th. I'm looking at my calendar right here. It's June 7th. And everything has just been very revolutionary. And I am very for a revolution because you know what? We've always talked about a revolution, and the revolution has never come. And revolutions usually always start with something bad happening. Like there's no if, ands, or buts, or any other way out of that subject, basically. Something bad always happens in order for a revolution to change and to take place. Um, it's just so exasperating just thinking of that because it's true, you guys. Like, you can't always just live in a bubble because when you live in your bubble, you are just so in your head all the time. If you're always in your head, if you're literally always in your head, how are you supposed to evolve and expand? You know, that's not growth.
No, it's not, and I think that's the thing is, it kind of goes back to you see it shared on social media and Facebook or whatever, but it is kind of it is a very poignant saying. It's, to people who don't get it, oh, you're sick of hearing about this, but imagine how sick the people who are going through it every day are of it, and that's the thing. People are tired, and
I am tired.
they're
I am tired.
I mean, turn on the news. It's exhausting. It's
yeah.
We're living in a very kind of strange, uncertain time anyway.
Yes.
And now, with all of this on top of it, it's understandable that people are tired. But the fact that people are tired and they're still getting out there and making their voices heard and demanding, some form of change, that shows just how important this really is.
It really does. It's really important. You know what? I think at this point in this video that we have been doing, I don't know how long it's been right now. I think we got a lot of valid points and opinions stated. I really appreciate everything that you have shared with me, Santino. Was there anything that you, Santino, want to close with before we end our video?
I think the closing message that that I would like to share is just one that we need to continue to move forward. No matter what it is, you continue to educate yourself, within the context of your beard care, your skin care, whatever products. Educate yourself. Who's running these companies? Are these POC-owned companies? Mm-hmm. Who is going to benefit from my dollars? Because your dollars are important, and you have a voice that way. But beyond that, I think we need to continue to educate ourselves as a society. And when you have, marginalized people who are speaking out with such emphasis, we need to listen to what they have to say. There's a reason why people are so angry right now. There's a reason why people are upset. They're scared. They're tired. And it's a valid reason. And we have to stop and listen to it. And we can't dismiss it in the name of, everyone else's comfort or what have you.
I know, exactly.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. As long as you have a voice, continue to use that voice.
Yes. I think that was a really good closing statement and opinion that you have given, and I highly agree with it. So yes, everyone, with that being said, thank you so much for checking out this video with Santino and I. If you guys loved this video, if you like the content that we are sharing with you guys, definitely let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up because it lets us know if you do like it, okay? And I don't know. I'm not gonna say what I normally say and whatever. I don't know. Did I already say like, comment, follow, and subscribe? Yeah, I did. Okay, so I am gonna have to, I should say that even though I don't know, it just seems weird saying like, comment, follow, and subscribe, especially when we're being serious. Yeah, I will leave that up to you guys. That is totally up to you. Yeah, okay, so with that being said, once again, thank you so much, Santino. And if you guys do want to follow us, I will leave links down below. You know where to find us on Instagram and on YouTube. And we will see you guys on the next one.